The Australian Ghost Whisperer with Katerine Legato and James Jennings. Hi everyone, welcome to the Australian Ghost Whisperer.
Hi everyone, welcome back.
Welcome. Today's topic, we're going to talk about signs that you can look out for that your psychic ability might be awakening.
Yeah, wow.
So if someone is like, I think, they might know someone who seems a little bit psychic, or they might have a few things that are happening to themselves, or they might say, I'm a very intuitive person, or this and that. But what are the things that people can actually look out for that are clear signs that that stuff is starting to happen for them?
Yeah, so perhaps right now you've been doing a lot of meditation and you find yourself, your abilities are becoming more prominent. So you will find firstly you may be having more vivid dreams, your dreams are much more vivid. You may find yourself being able to see. So when you're sort of meditating through your third eye, you might be able to see colors, or you might be able to see faces, or you may be seeing, different shadows and things moving around. You'll also find yourself much more intuitive. So perhaps, you might feel as though I'm picking up on people's emotions more, I'm feeling people's emotions more, or I'm getting those gut feelings of, I need to do this, or I need to do that, or I need to go this direction. So they're all the signs. You also will feel yourself becoming more sensitive. So you might also feel that you want to be alone a little bit more. You just want to feel that you can give yourself some of that protection from the harshness of the world around you. So you might be feeling like, I just need to have some quiet time. I just want to stay home. I'm not so keen to be going out so much. These are all signs that you are becoming more sensitive and that your spiritual gifts are becoming much more prominent. And so whilst you're going through this, it actually is really important to have some time out to be able to fully understand the gifts that are opening up for you. You might also find that you're hearing messages, the clairaudient. You might be able to see through your third eye. You might be sensing, feeling. You might be finding yourself getting downloads, like just messages coming in, perhaps feeling the presence of your guides, perhaps feeling the presence of angelic beings around you. There's so many signs that your psychic gifts are developing. And remember that this is a natural part of ourselves. We have these gifts because they are natural to us. It's just that obviously, we're born into this very physical realm and everything's quite physical. Everything's all about the five senses, what I can see, feel, touch. So when you're going through this, know that you're growing spiritually. Know that you're growing, that you're developing those divine gifts that are naturally your gifts to develop. So don't be afraid of it. But, if you're a little afraid or you're not understanding it, it's good to seek someone else out, like perhaps a good medium or a healer, someone that can give you advice. Or you could join our Patreon channel where I'm teaching all of these skills. It's really important to not be afraid of it. And sometimes whilst you're going through this development of your own psychic ability, you might find also that some of those emotions that perhaps you've suppressed will come to the surface to be acknowledged, to be healed, to be resolved within you. You may also find yourself wanting to make changes in your life. As you develop spiritually, you'll find that you're going to be vibing on a different frequency, on a higher frequency. So you might find yourself being drawn to different kinds of people, different friends, or you might find yourself wanting to end old things in your life. This is all part of the growth that happens when you're spiritually developing. So it's really good to just continue to go with the flow, to be able to meditate, to be able to understand, go into your heart and ask yourself, what am I feeling? What is it that I need to do right now to get myself to the next space and the next space? So that's how you kind of work with your spiritual development. But enjoy the journey, really enjoy the journey. And remember that as you develop, you will become quite sensitive. So it's really important to have some sort of protection, to be able to create a form of protection around you so that you're not taking on everything. So whether you're going to put yourself under some brilliant light or wrapping yourself in a golden egg, this is going to help to keep your energy protected and contained. Because otherwise you're just going to be absorbing so much of everybody's stuff around you that you're going to become quite confused, and you're going to feel quite tired. You're going to feel zapped of your energy because you're not protecting your energy enough. So things are going to come at you and zap you. You may also feel like there's some dark stuff lurking around. And so by protecting yourself, by feeling that brilliant light all around you, you're going to be able to deflect anything negative around you, because these negative things are around us always. You go into shopping centers and it's full of all these emotions and energy, and there's all the Wi-Fi happening everywhere, and that really depletes your energy. But if you're protecting yourself, you'll be less affected by it. Perhaps you're you're part of a family with it always got dramas going on. So if you're in the midst of developing your psychic abilities, then you might feel yourself, after a day of being with your family, that you've absorbed all this stuff. But again, if you're using that protection, you're creating a force field of protection, and you're also commanding that any external emotions or negative energies cannot come into your space. All right. Now, if, say, worst case scenario, you've come home and you feel really zapped, perhaps you've had a really bad day at work and you feel really zapped of your energy, you feel out of balance, I always recommend a really nice warm salt bath. Just get some sea salt, couple of cups of sea salt if you can, and have a nice soak, because sea salt's always very cleansing, very clearing. Or have a swim in the ocean, or sit in the sunlight, lay on some grass and just feel whatever it is, whatever negativity you've absorbed, feel it being drained from you. So perhaps if you're sitting under the sun, you can feel the sunlight just clearing it from you. Or if you're laying in a salt bath, just feel the salts absorbing that negativity, absorbing that external energy you've taken on. And then when you pull out the plug, just feel all that yucky energy moving away from you. Again, laying in the grass can be very grounding. Grounding's so good for you, and just feel any negative energy just draining out through your feet, draining out of your energy field, draining out of your chakra system, just draining out. And that way you feel yourself again feeling quite grounded. These are ways to ground. It's really important to be able to ground, and not to, whilst you're developing your spiritual gifts, is not to feel yourself being out there all the time. Remember that you need to ground, you need to have that protection around you, because you're still living in pretty much a physical world, and most of you probably have 9-to-5 jobs that you've got to be able to go to and be fully present there. So it's really important to know that there's a place and time to explore your gifts, but there's also place and time where you kind of have to shield yourself and get on with physical stuff. Like I do this work obviously as a full-time profession, but once I'm finished seeing clients, I feel myself, all that energy, any energy I may have taken on, and I imagine myself under a waterfall of light, and I just close my eyes and I invoke that waterfall to cleanse, clear my chakras, my energy field, anything that I've taken on. So, and I keep doing that until I feel a shift. And then I draw in very close around me my energy. I feel myself grounding into Mother Earth, and then I create a beautiful force field of golden protection around me. And I set that intention that nothing can penetrate through my force field. and then I'm back in the physical. I'm able to get in my car, drive myself home, and get on with whatever I'm doing, okay? So it's important to have balance. I've seen people, very gifted people, burn out very quickly because they're just always on. They're sitting in coffee shops and they're like, I'm feeling things, or they're giving their friends messages, and there's no switch. There's no off button with them. They're on the go. And then eventually they burn out very quickly because they're just allowing all that energy to be zapped from them. So balance is so important, as is protection and as is the grounding. And these are the ways that you can develop safely without getting yourself into a situation where you become zapped of your energy, or you take on something negative, or you start to really no longer enjoy the process because it's making you feel tired, it's making you feel unbalanced, it's creating confusion in your mind, you can't think clearly, you're not sleeping well. If that's what you experience, then you know that you're in trouble and you will probably need some help.
You mentioned at the beginning about dreams, and how dreams can perhaps be a way that we can realize our psychic abilities awakening. So can you just maybe go a bit more into that, and how dreams tie into our psychic ability, and how it may strengthen if our psychic ability is in fact awakening?
Yes, so dreams will be whilst you're developing psychically, and obviously if you're doing all the positive things that we've talked about with protection and grounding in a balanced way, you might find that you are in communication with your guides in your dreams. You might find that you're experiencing some teachings where because remember, when you go to sleep, you're able to move away from your physical 3D body into the higher realms of spirit, and be able to sit perhaps with your guides, take on some teachings. I remember when I was developing, like at night, I could even remember myself in the morning that I'd gone on some sort of journey, that had been with my guides, I'd received messages. So it's a good time when you first wake up, if you can, to have pen and paper and just sit and write anything down that you remember. And as you're writing it down, you'll find that more messages will come through. Okay, so that's why your dream state's important, because it's when the spirit leaves the body and is able to go upwards and outwards into the higher realms and connect with your guides, connect with the presence of the angelic realms, or God's realms, or connect with the stars, connect with the planets, even connecting with other, high ETs, benevolent ETs. So, and receive messages and teachings from them. You're much more open and free and receptive to absorb this information. So these are the things that happen in your sleep state. Again, perhaps you might have a nightmare and feel something bad coming at you. That's just reminding you that perhaps before you went to bed, you didn't create that force field of protection around you. Perhaps you went to bed and you were very, not in a good state of mind, or you had stuff going on. And if you're feeling that way, acknowledge it, and maybe just ask your guides to keep you insulated and safe through your sleep, through your rest time.
And can people also have, I guess, premonitions as well through their dreams? That's
absolutely.
a big thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And you can ask if there's something that you want to specifically know more about. You can ask as you're falling asleep. Utilize that protection. Imagine the force field. Set the intention that only benevolent spirits can come into your space, and that you're asking for perhaps, I want to better understand my healing gifts, or I would like to better develop my third eye. Whatever it is, set that intention, and just, you'll find that when you wake up, hopefully you'll have the answer. But it does take time. It is practice. And, if you didn't get an answer, don't feel disappointed. You might find through the day that the answer comes in a different way. So it's all about really enjoying the journey, and know that these are your inherent gifts anyway. It's just that these gifts have been suppressed when we're born into this very 3D physical world, and everything is about learning to read, write, and do all the practical things, that unfortunately our spiritual gifts get left behind. And so what you're doing is you are acknowledging that part of you that perhaps was suppressed, that wasn't given the opportunity to develop. And what you're doing is you're reconnecting with that aspect of yourself that's always been there. It's always a part of you. It's in your DNA, your spirit. Your spirit holds all the wisdom of the thousands of lifetimes that you've probably lived. So the more you meditate, the more you connect with your spirit, the more you have access to enormous amounts of wisdom, a wealth of wisdom and information that is already a part of you. But we've just not been taught how to do this. We've not been taught that we're infinite beings with infinite wisdom, infinite powers within us. So by meditating, you're able to move away from physical reality, and you're able to move into the spirit aspect of yourself. You're able to connect with your spirit, your soul that's ancient and that holds the memories of where you've been. Good or bad, it holds those memories. And whilst you're able to access that, you're able to then realize how incredibly infinite and powerful you really are.
When you talk about protection and invoking protection, so you've mentioned the word intention, so you're setting the intention for that protection, and visualizing. So is it a case of using our imagination to visualize that protection? So you've mentioned before
your imagination is the psychic part of yourself. Yes, so you can imagine a golden egg. Shut your eyes and imagine this solid golden egg and set the intention that this is here, this force field of protection, and nothing can penetrate, nothing can come through. This is how you invoke protection. And unfortunately, I see so many that I know of spiritual teachers not teaching protection, or taking their people on journeys or meditations and just come back, open up your eyes and off you go. And you're all open, your energy's expanded when you meditate, and then you set off in the car and you're probably sitting there trying to kind of, ground yourself and being able to focus on driving and doing a physical thing. This is why I always say ground, come back into your body fully and completely. I've done healings on people where their spirit is kind of hanging outside of their body because whilst they were meditating, they weren't able to bring themselves back. So use your hands to feel yourself. I'm bringing my spirit back into alignment with my physical body, with my chakra system.
I know I've tried a lot of the techniques that you've taught, and even recently I was getting visited by entities at night, which unfortunately happens semi-regularly in my life. And but on the nights before I went to bed, that I actually sat down, meditated, connected, to the earth, connected to God, and brought in that protection, I wasn't being bothered.
That's right.
Like because I was making a concerted effort to go, this is what I'm doing, setting the intention, visualizing it, and I would have a better night's sleep, and those disturbances wouldn't happen. And then the nights that I would forget to do it, of course, I would get the disturbances.
And ask and you shall receive. If you're not asking, and you're not commanding it into being, the protection, then it's not going to be there, obviously. And then you're open to anything that's around, and they can, and unfortunately, we do live in a world of positive and negative polarities. So we are open to both. So it's you choosing which side you're on. Which side of the fence do I want to be on? Am I in the positive and I'm going to stand in the light? Or am I just going to be nowhere and just allow whatever's around to kind of connect with me? I mean, there's a lot of very negative beings out there, very, and that are wanting to connect with people and work through them and, misguide them and do a lot of harm, cause a lot of harm and havoc in their lives. So this is why I say that, people sometimes are channeling just dark entities that are pretending to be, enlightened masters or guides, where really I can clearly see that someone's connected to this dark entity and they're channeling this dark entity and taking away their power, whereas your guides are there to guide you, to help you, but they're not going to sit there and say, yes, no, do this, do that. If they're doing that, then you need to question. You need to question all the time and go with your vibe, feel it. Does it feel like a warm, loving presence? Or does it feel cold? Does it feel like something that I'm not sure about? If you're not sure about it, send it away. Tell it to go. No permission, no consent. And keep working through it, and eventually you'll feel the light of your own guides. And this is the best way that you're going to be able to safely develop those gifts.
Okay. And on the topic of downloads as well, which you mentioned as well.
So from our higher self, our own psychic abilities, we get those downloads, where our higher self will give us a message. That's what I mean about the down. There's also the higher self, and that's the infinite self, the multidimensional self that lives within other realities, that has the wisdom, that probably already has the answer to whatever it is you're searching for. But you'll feel that as a very clear message coming in. If it's a message that feels you're not sure of, or it doesn't feel right, delete it. I don't accept this message. And it's always good to create a sacred space. So if you are going to pursue your meditation and your spiritual development, create a space in your home. Maybe have like a beautiful space in your home, and always use the same space so that you're creating that wonderful energy of protection and a love around you. And maybe have some beautiful crystals. You might have some plants. Have like a little altar if you like, and place things that are symbolic to your journey, to your development, and using that same space all the time. Then you're building a nice protective energy there, and you know that it's a space that you go into where you can open up and feel safe. And before you start any form of meditation, always invoke the protection. Invoke the presence of Mother, Father, God within you and around you, so that you are always insulated and always connecting to the highest of the highest, rather than just leaving yourself to, again, whatever's floating around. And then when you come back, make sure you're grounding. Draw your energy in, draw your spirit in very close, and feel it coming in, centering into your body, grounding, protecting yourself.
I might share a little example of when I got a download a couple of weeks ago. Like that that might help people, I guess, understand one way that it can come to you, because I've had the downloads happen at various points in my life, and that can happen in different ways. But the most recent way was a couple of weeks ago, and for the last few months, I had a spirit coming to me at night. It wasn't even waiting until I fell asleep. Sometimes they kind of like start pushing you or doing things when you're asleep, but it would come before I fell asleep. So I could feel, it's almost like I felt its energy lay down on top of me. And it would kind of very gently pull back the sheets from my shoulders, which is a little scary. Like, I mean, like, come on, like that's a bit freaky. But like, I would feel the blankets coming back. I would hear the crinkle of the sheets. Kind of like, I was not imagining it. It was it was happening, and so it kept happening, and I was just like, go away, like leave me alone, because at the end of the day, stuff that happens in the middle of the night like that, it's quite invasive and it can be a little bit scary. So that was happening for, on and off for a few months. And then a couple of weeks ago, it stepped up again and it was happening every night. Like I went and stayed at my brother's place. It happened both nights I was there. I went home. It happened. It just kept happening, and eventually it kind of wore me down. And there was one night where I was just super tired, and I was just like, because it felt like it was trying to connect. It felt like it was trying to get into my energy.
Yeah, that's what.
And I didn't want it to happen because I didn't know what it was. But anyway, one night I was just exhausted and I just gave in. I was just like, all right, connect, or like I just couldn't. I couldn't bother fighting anymore. But the minute that I kind of like, I guess, surrendered, this download shot into my head, and it basically said, don't drive your car on this particular date, otherwise you're going to have a nasty accident or a dangerous accident. So what confuses me about that whole experience was that, whatever was this thing that was trying to connect with me was obviously trying to offer me a message
so that you
to
would
help
trust
me.
it. So you would trust it and let it in.
Right. So that's the thing. It's like,
it was not benevolent.
You don't think it was?
No, because guides don't come and lay on top of you and pull back your covers. That's just not how you connect with your divine guides.
Okay.
But this is the perfect example of how they will trick you into believing in them. They will give you an accurate message, like the message about not driving on a particular day. I agree with that. But it was its way of hooking you in. I'll give you a message and then you're going to trust me, and then I can move into your energy and start to control you. And this is a great example of how they will trick you. They will give you an accurate message or something. They'll tell you something, and then that happens, and then it's like, oh, wow, that was my guide said that this was going to happen today, and it did. Remember, question, because they're there to trick you.
Yeah, because
these dark entities are very, very smart. They know how to trick you. So that doesn't mean the message is wrong. The message was right, but it was there to trick you.
Right.
Okay? And they always are there trying to get in, trying to find a way to bring us down. I can't even begin to tell you how many times they have tried to attack me and stop me because I'm doing God's work. I'm helping like thousands of people. I'm spreading the word of love and hope. The dark side absolutely hates me. And I'm going to give you all a true example of something that happened to me last year. My daughter moved to Melbourne and I was so excited. It had been a while she'd been living there. I was so excited to finally make time. There was all the COVID going on. So I waited for all of that to pass, and I was really excited to go to Melbourne to see her. 2 nights before my plane trip, the first night, this dreadful entity, and I won't give it a name because I don't want to give it so much power, I know, came in my sleep and had a virus, which we all know which virus it is. It had it in a ball of yucky energy, and it was trying to push it into my heart chakra. So I woke myself up. It wasn't a dream. I know I was in kind of that in-between reality. And my wand, my energetic healing wand, I pulled it up and I started clearing my space and basically pissing it off. Anyway, it went. So I thought, good, that's over and done with. The night before I leave for Melbourne, it comes back. And do you know what it says to me? It says, don't worry, we'll get you in Melbourne when you don't have your tools with you. This is how much they try and torment me. So you see, they are there. These horrid things and creatures are there. And they're always round the corner waiting to suck you in one way or another. And I have been through this so many times in my life that I am on high alert. And whenever there's something important going on in my life, man, and I think those 2 nights before going to Melbourne, I was so excited to go and see my daughter. Probably didn't really invoke enough protection because I was thinking about the trip and making sure what I had packed and, all the usual. And so, my mind was sort of not perhaps fully, and they just little door and in they stepped, the bastards. So that's what they will do. They are wanting to bring humanity down. The darkness wants to take over this earth and rule the earth. And that's been the constant battle between good and bad upon the earth from the beginning of time. From the beginning of time, there has been a constant battle of good and bad on this earth. And now we're at this moment where good must override. And the more good and love and light we bring into this earth, the less power they're going to have over us. So that's why I'm saying you have to be very aware of what you're connecting with, of what you're channeling with, of whom is, if you're going to a spiritual teacher, make sure that, of who they are. Have they worked through their own stuff? Are they in complete control of what they're doing? Are they able to, hold sacred space for you? Are you leaving there feeling enlightened, grounded? These are the things. If you're going there and you're not feeling so hot, then stop. And always ask to be guided for your highest good.
All right, that's pretty good advice, as always. Yeah, wow, okay. I can't stop thinking about the fact that some spirit was trying to connect to me and deceive me. That's
what
quite
they'll
unsettling.
do. They will literally give you a very accurate message. It's not they're quite psychic. They have abilities. They're just using it for the dark. But they will give you a very accurate message. But that's how they reel you in.
Gotta.
It's like I've heard over. Unfortunately, I've had again something where. I've had people show up at my doorstep, make appointments to see me because they've gone to some very dark person for a reading who was quite accurate. And they were astounded. This person was accurate. But then they asked me for $10,000 because I have some bad curse on me that they need to clear from me. Or they've asked for $20,000. These are real things. And I've had to keep going back over and over again and keep giving them money. But you see, that's how they've reeled you in. And these dark people can be very gifted and give you very accurate messages. But their intention for you is to rip you off of your force field, of your power, and of your money.
Be careful.
And there's a lot of those going out there. A lot.
All right, so people have got to be on their guard.
Yeah.
They've got to be clear. And intuition really comes into it, right? It's like, what does it feel right?
Yeah, does it feel... Yeah, go into your heart, What's my heart telling me? What is my heart... What am I feeling here? Anybody, if you're going for a reading and they, being very accurate and then telling you that you've got, maybe you do have a curse, but it shouldn't cost $10,000. No. Shouldn't cost $20,000. You don't need to kill a chicken. This is the stupid things you don't need to put a curse in an egg and then go put it under the ground. This is incredibly stupid. And this is just putting a ritual on top of a ritual on top of a ritual and invoking more darkness, more demonic beings into and creating demonic infestation then in your life. And these people show up and they're a real bloody mess, and it's not easy clearing them because you've got to get rid of all the curse and all the rituals that have been done over them. And it becomes a mess. But this is very real, and this goes on a lot, I don't need to kill a chicken to clear somebody. I don't need to go and, put the shit in an egg. I invoke the power of God, and that's how you work. And I definitely, don't ask people for $10,000. So you just have to be so aware. There's so much deceit and evil people out there that will take advantage of your vulnerabilities, of your problems, of your issues. And they don't care, because most of the time you've got no legal right. If you've given them that money, you haven't got a leg to stand on because you gave it to them. And most of the time these people then do the runners and are hard to find anyway. So yeah, remember that it's always, if you are seeing somebody, they should be helping you to stand in your power.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, perhaps we'll wrap it up there, Katerina.
Yeah, wonderful.
Unless there's anything else you think we can add to that. But that all sounds like pretty good advice.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that's pretty good, solid advice for all of you.
I think so. So if you have things that are happening, that might be what's going on. That might be some ways to deal with it. So we wish you well on your journey. We'll be covering more topics as we go on through our series. We hope you can join us for that.
Yeah, join, subscribe, and please let us know if there's particular topics that you are interested in. Send us an email, and we'd love to hear from you. And or join the Patreon if you're wanting to develop. At least you'll be sitting with me, and I have 30 years of solid experience I've been doing this 30 years full time. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, but I think I've got it down to a pretty, solid understanding.
Oh, Katerina's underselling herself. She's basically like the Michael Jordan of this stuff. Like, other people, it's just like, meh, and like Katerina's like next level. I mean, and I'm not being paid to say that either. That's like, it's the straight up truth.
But,
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note,
thank you, everyone. God bless and have an awesome day.
You betcha.
Thank you for being with us once again.
Indeed. See you next time, guys.
See you next time. Bye.
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 To gain access to private spiritual development classes, guided meditations, and live Q&As with Katerina, please visit www.patreon, that's patreon.com/The Australian Ghost Whisperer.